Good morning. Welcome to day 2, Thursday, Mecum 2025. This is my coverage of it, Mechanical Advantage Garage coverage of the auction in Vegas, motorcycle auction in Vegas. So we got some interesting stuff coming through today. Hopefully you've enjoyed Wednesday's video. If not, go take a look at it. It's interesting to see what comes through on the different days, right? So Wednesday tends to be a good deal day, but you don't get a lot of rare bikes that come through, not on a regular cadence. Thursday you start to see things come through a little bit more that are interesting, but the big days are always Friday and Saturday because those are the days people can take off from work and come do this. But anyway, let's go see what's coming on the block, and we can learn a few things about some bikes here.
Fire a 97 off state motorcycle.
One of the nice parts about Mecum Wednesday and Thursday auctions is that if you're looking for really clean versions of not rare bikes, you'll certainly find them. So here we have a CB550, I believe. It's 72500, and then you have a CM200 Twin Star, CM400 Custom, Nighthawk 550, a V30 Magna, Suzuki Intruder. None of these are rare bikes. In fact, any of these bikes you could find average versions of on Craigslist all day long. The thing about them is these ones are particularly nice. They're not what you would normally find on Craigslist. They're actually, very beautiful bike examples of the bike. This one's particularly interesting. It's a Whizzer. Whizzers were kits that they made after World War II, where you could convert bicycles to motorized bicycles or motorcycles. This particular one's a 1947, and it looks to be built on a Schwinn, but it says Cleveland Roadmaster, so that's probably the bicycle frame. But it has that sort of Schwinn-style fork. And there's the single-cylinder engine, the tank that you would bolt on to the top frame of the bicycle. And you can see it just straddles the tube. And then this is how you attach your sprocket. It is basically just a washer and a nut that captures the spoke, and there's an indentation on the back side of the sprocket. It's belt drive, as you can see here. And this is how you got back on the road after World War II and then not making enough cars or motorcycles or anything during the war.
Anybody get $5 bid, anybody get $3,000 bid, anybody get $3, anybody get $3, anybody get $2,000. Somebody get $2,000, anybody get $1,000 for it. $1,000, anybody get $1,000. Ladies and gentlemen, you are at an auction that requires audience participation. Somebody get $500, $750, $1,000, $1,000. $1,500 bid, anybody get $1,000, anybody get $1,500, they get $1,500. I have $1,000 bid, anybody get $1,500. So $1,000, George.
Here's a very unique pair of late 80s, early 90s Honda history. Right here in front of me is a 650 Hawk GT. This is a 1989 model. And behind it is a 1990 CB1 400cc. The Hawk was actually built by a Formula One engineering firm for Honda as a way of homologating certain parts for motorcycle racing, as well as experimenting with some other engineering technologies that Honda wanted to try out on street bikes. I believe the company that built these was Elf, and they have kind of unique things for the 80s, like a single-sided swing arm and aluminum chassis instead of a steel tube. And it's also a V-twin, which was kind of unique for the time when V4s tended to be where sport bikes went. The CB1 was not a very big seller in the US, being a 400cc and 400cc bikes not being all that popular. This is actually a 4-cylinder, but in the similar vein as the Hawk, it was an experiment to try and see if Americans would like something different. This doesn't have as near as neat technologies, but it is kind of an oddball, and they are actually a lot of fun to ride for small, sporting, 4-cylinders. Think of them as modernized versions of the CB400F that came before it from the 70s. Both very interesting bikes.
McLaughlin.
Now offering P20, an 89 Honda NT650 Hawk GT, no reserve.
$10,000. Anybody get $5,000? $1,000. Anybody get $1,500 bid? Anybody get $1,500? $2,000. Anybody get $2 bid? Anybody get $2 now? $2,500 bid. Anybody get $3,000? Anybody get $35? At $3,500 bid. Anybody get $3,500? You get $35. At $3,500 bid. Anybody get $5 bid? Anybody get $5 bid? Anybody get $3,500? You get $3,500. $3,500 for it. Anybody else? $3,500. You get $3,500 bid. Jordan, you want $3,500? What do you got? Yeah. No. No. Okay, yes. I've got $3,250. $3,500. $3,500 bid. Anybody get $5 bid? Anybody get $3,500? At $3,500, you get $2.5 bid. Anybody get $3,500? You decide no? Give $3,500. So $3,250, Ryan.
Now offering P21 from the Boyle collection, a 1990 Honda CB1, no reserve.
Selling in a reserve, $1,000 bid. $1,500. Anybody get $1,500? $1,500. $2,000. Anybody get $2,500 bid? Anybody get $3,000? Anybody get $35,000? At $4,000. Anybody get $500 bid? Anybody get $45,000? $5,000. Anybody get $5? At $5,500 bid? Anybody get $55,000? $6,000. Anybody get $5 bid? Anybody get $5,000? $7,000. At $7,000 now $75,000. $8,000. Anybody get $8 bid? Anybody get $8? At $8,000. $9,000 money. $9,000. $9,000. $10,000. $10,000. Anybody get 10 bid? Anybody get 9 bid? Anybody get 85's bid with Alex? $9,000. 85 bid. Anybody get 9,000? Anybody get 9 bid? Anybody get $9,000. At 9,000. Anybody get 9 bid? Anybody get 9 here? Anybody get 9,000? You got 85, right, Alex? Alex, you got 8,500. Not quite yet, because I've got 8,000 with Jordan. So you need to be 8,500 if you want it. There's an awful lot of yeses going on there. I've got 8,000 with Jordan. Is that right, Jordan? Oh boy, folks, this is my very first day, and now Jordy's on the phone. Oh boy. Yeah, well, we got one of those. I got $8,000. Is that right, Jordan?
Hey, there was a mistake. He was on the phone. He was 7,000 right here on the phone. So if that guy wants in today, he can be in. But we're 7.
You're 7.
Yeah.
Somehow, I got carried away up there. We got 7.
It'll happen when you're celebrating a birthday.
Well, we didn't start celebrating yet, Bob. Alex, you got any interest above $7,000?
Apparently there was a mistake with the phone.
Okay, I've got $7,000. $7,500. $7,000 bid. Anybody get $7,500? Sold $7,000, Jordan.
Now offering people.
Something cool I just want to show you on the memorabilia table here. This is a bulb horn for a brass era car that looks like a boa constrictor. And it is actually functional. It is made in England. And it looks to be like it was restored at one point. There's not a lot of information on it here. Let's see if I can get a good view of the tag here. But it is kind of a neat piece. I don't think this would ever fit on a motorcycle, but it's kind of cool, you know? A giant bulb horn. So here's a very interesting bike. This is a Malaguti, and it is a 50cc Italian bike made after the war. This one happens to be a 1963. But what makes this one particularly interesting is this is the sporting model with a 6-speed transmission. So now, people think that the 6-speed is a modern motorcycle development and modern car development, but way back in the late 50s and early 60s, you had a lot of companies like MV and Suzuki and Honda, and even the Italians here like Malaguti, who were experimenting with very small 50cc two-strokes, and trying to get the most speed and power out of them. And they found that it was cheaper to add another gear than it was to keep developing the engine internals to make more power, because the more power you make, the more fragile it gets. But the more gears you add, it doesn't affect its fragility. So this particular bike happens to be very beautiful because look at this front fairing here. I mean, the Italians really knew how to style things with these jelly bean tanks, and you know, it's a very tiny bike because it is only a 50cc, but man, is this gorgeous. And look at this, it's a 50cc two-stroke with a split pipe. This was in the era before expansion chambers. So it's kind of fascinating to see. Before, when I was speaking about 50cc experimental 6-speed bikes, well, the Malaguti was one, but that was a street bike. Here is Honda's race bike. Now, this happens to be a modern reproduction that Honda made in around 2004, I believe. Let me just check the tech sheet. Yeah, 2004. They made these in tribute to the 1964 50cc race bikes. Now, these are also race bikes, and they were race class eligible in certain organizations, but they are 6-speed 50cc. In this case, they're dual overhead cam. The originals were dual overhead cams too. Honda didn't really experiment with 2-strokes like Suzuki did and Kawasaki did. Honda was always a 4-stroke sort of company. They didn't get into the 2-stroke era until MotoGP, or I should say Formula One motorcycle racing in the 70s and late 70s and early 80s. But yeah, this is actually a faithful reproduction of the original 50cc Honda race bike. So they're pretty neat. I don't know if I've ever seen one ever be raced. Most of the people who bought these are collectors. They just kind of bought them and stuck them in their houses. But yeah, really interesting bike.
Jordan Hunter, sold.
T36, 1963 Malaguti GAM6, no reserve.
GS sells in no reserve. I negative 10. Bottom of the negative 10 pound, $10, 7 pounds and out of bed. 3 pounds and out of 4 pounds and out of bed. 3, 4, high, 3 to negative 4 pound out of 4, high, negative 3 to negative 4 pound out of 3 pounds and out of 4 pounds and out of now 4, 5, 5, 6, high, negative 5 to negative 6 pound out of 5 pound out of 6, down 5, now 7, 60 pounds, 7 pound out of 7 pound out of now 7 pound out of now 7 pound out of 500 7,500 8 pounds and out of bed. Good 800 out of negative 8 pound out of now 8 to bed. 7,500 8 pounds and out of bed. Good 8 pounds and out of bed. 500 out of 85. Good 8 pounds and out of bed. 8500 out of negative 8 pound out of now 5. 8,500 hard 8 pound out of now 5. 8500 negative 8 pound out of now 500. Travis Water 8,500. 8,500. 8,500. Last call 8 pounds and out of 8,500 out of now half. Sold 8 pounds a dollar stick.
This happens to be one of my favorite sporting singles of the show. This is a 1973 Moto Guzzi Nuovo Falcone, right, which means new Falcon. So in the 50s, Moto Guzzi had developed a laydown 500 single, and here's the cylinder, that went into a bunch of bikes like the Alsace, the Falcon, and they were known as bacon slicer Guzzis in America because on this side of the engine, they had a big exposed flywheel that you could, rub your foot against and accidentally take off a big chunk of meat. And they look like a big deli slicer, right? Well, on the later bikes, they put this big cover on it so that you couldn't hurt yourself. Now, this particular model was built for European military and police use. And I believe this one in particular had a past life as a police bike in Italy, but it's been repainted in civilian colors in red. Normally when you see these, they have a flat seat. They look very 70s. Most of them are white with a red frame. But this one, I don't know, it's very cool. It's done in a sort of period correct Guzzi livery. It looks like a loop frame pinstripe job. But, and it looks like an older paint too, because if you really get in it, there's some lacquer checking in the paint. But you don't see these in the US. They were not a US market bike. Very few were ever imported. And I happen to think that they're gorgeous. But I'm kind of a weirdo like that. So I want to see what happens when this crosses the block. Earlier you heard me talk about the Guzzi bacon slicer single engine with the exposed flywheel. Well, here is the exposed flywheel. For the later 70s bikes, they put that under a cover, but there's the there's the bacon slicer.
At 4,500. Next from the Al Phillips collection, lot T38, 1973 Moto Guzzi Nuovo Falcone. Rare in the U.S., mostly used for Italian police and military.
Divide, higher negative 10 pounds and out of bed, 10, higher negative 10 to bed, 5 pounds and out of 6 pounds and out of bed, higher negative again, 6 pounds and out of 7 pounds and out of bed, higher 65, 7, 65, 100 out of 7 pounds out of down, 7 pounds out of 60 pounds, 7, is 7 pounds and out of 7,500, 7 pounds out of down, 500 out of down, 7 pounds out of down, 5, hit 5, higher 7 pounds out of 508, hit down 5, higher negative 8,500 out of bed, hit 8,500. 85, higher negative 8 down 5, hit 5, higher down 85, hit 85, higher down 9, 85, 9, 85, reserve is off, 8,500, 9 pounds and out of bed, 85 going to be 9, hit 9, higher 85 to bed, 9 pounds and out of bed, anybody else, 8,500, 9 pounds and out of bed, 85 going to be 9,000. So $8,500 in it.
Lot T39.
So let's talk about the evolution of Norton design from the 60s to today. So this is a 66 650 SS Dominator, and this is pretty much representative of the beginning of the modern Norton motorcycle. And I say not modern, it's away from the old plunger frames and single down tube frames of the 1930s, and then post-war era of 40s and 50s, early 50s. So this is a featherbed frame. I believe this is actually a slimline. I can't tell. I think this is a slimline featherbed with a 650 vertical cylinder Norton engine. On the Commandos, the cylinder always cants forward, but it uses a very similar crankcase at the bottom. 4-speed gearbox. Pretty standard stuff. No iso-elastics on this bike. It's engine and tranny bolt into the cradle, solidly mounted, and they kind of vibrate, but they're fun bikes to ride. A little on the small side in terms of just physical dimensions, but that's how most British bikes were. I mean, if you look at like a CB350, or in this case, I think this is a CL350, it's about the same size. They're really not much different in height or overall wheelbase, And then if you look at something like the CX500 behind it, it's a much larger bike comparatively. But that's the 60s, so let's move on to down here, where we have this 1971 Commando, or sorry, 73 Commando, right? So this is representative of the 1970s for Norton. These are isolastic mounted, different frame design. Here you can see the cylinder cants forward. It is, you know, a more modern bike. It's also larger, better brakes, better suspension. One of the reasons why the featherbeds were, you know, legendary in handling is the crankcase wheels. The center line of the crankcase was in line with the axle on the front and rear wheel. So they had the lowest center of gravity you could have without having a counterweight effect. These bikes, they're pretty similar in that regard, but the Commando engine is a little higher. Now, these have isolastic mounts here in the front. I don't know if you can see that. And then a rubber mount in the rear. The transmission actually bolts into a cradle, and then the cradle rubber mounts to the frame. And the swing arm is mounted to the transmission cradle, not to the frame itself. So the engine, transmission, and swing arm can be pulled out as one unit if it's sufficiently disassembled. And then Norton sort of ended in the end of the 1970s. And it wasn't until Kenny Dreer started resurrecting them that we end up with this, which is the 2015 Norton 961. And you can see it's much more a modern motorcycle. And these were based in part on the original 1970s Commando engines. Kenny Dreer, when he was developing them, was building his vintage rebuild 880s. And then the idea for the 961 came through. Then he started development on that. And then it was bought by some English firms and made in England. And, you know, I believe they went into receivership, and then now they're back into production, although not in the US. A very pretty bike, about the same size and shape as a Ducati Sport Classic. About the same price tag too, just a little more expensive. This one has extensive carbon fiber and Olin suspension on it. But a very pretty bike nonetheless.
Floors way.
Now offering T65, a 66 Norton 650 SS Dominator.
Now I'd get a bit of a 12 here, I'd get a bit of a 10,000 down, I'd get a bit of a 10 here, 4,000, 5,000, and 4, 5 bid, and 5, 6,000 down, I'd get a bit of a 7 bid, and 6,000 I'd get a bit of a 7 pound bid, I'd get a bit of a 600, 7,000, and 6 here, I'd get a bit of a 7 pound bid, I'd get a bit of a 700 bid, I'd get a bit of a 7, 6,000, 7, and 7 here down, I'd get a bit of a 700 bid, I'd get a bit of a 6 here, I'd get a bit of a 5, 16, 5 in a bid, and 6,000 I'd get a bit of a 5 pound, 5 here, I'd get a bit of a 5 down, 6,005 in a 5 period. I'm gonna go to 5 down, 5. I'm gonna go 6 here. I'm gonna go to 5 last call. And I'm gonna go to 5 here. 6,000. I'm gonna go 16. 5 in a bid. It's 6,005. I'm gonna go to 5 period. I'm gonna go 5 down, 6 bid. I'm gonna go to 5 and I have. Close it there, 6,000. Close it at $6,000. We're about 10 to buy on the bike.
Now a third-weight collection, a 73 Norton Commando.
Thank you. I'd get a $10,000 down. I'd get a bit of a $5,000 bill. And I'd get a bit of a 5 here. I'd get a bit of a 2. I'd get a bit of a 2. I'd get a bit of a 2 here down 5 down 3. I'd get a bit of a 3 down 5, 35 here. I'd get a bit of a 5 down 4. I'd get a bit of a 45 here. I'd get a bit of a 45 5-pound bid. And 5 here, 45 bid, 5,000. And 45 bid. I'd get a bit of a 5,000 down. I'd get a bit of a 45 bid, 5,000 bid. Hit 5. I'd get a bit of a 5 bid. I'd get a bit of a 5,000 down. I'd get a bit of 555 and a bit George's way, 5,055. Hit 5 here. I'd get a bit of a 55. I'd get a 6,000. And I'd get a bit of 5 here, 16.5. And I'd get a bit of a 16.5 bid. I'd get a bit of a 55. Get a bit of a 65 in a bid. George, you want 6 back there? Get 55 in a bid. You want to get 6,000, sir? Stay in the saddle if you want it. 6,000 a bid. 6,000. I thought so. Down 5, 6,005, 16.5, 16.5 in a bid. Reserves off, 16.5. Hit 5. Reserve is off, sir. 16.5 in a bid. Hit 5. I'll get a bit of a 5. I'll get a bit of a I don't know if we do that trick already. I'll get it a 6,005. And I'll get a bit of a 5 bid. 6,000. I'll get a bit of a 5 half. Sold 6,000. Sold $6,000 going to the coop.
Now offering T63, a 2015 Norton Commando 961 SF.
I'll get a bit of a Commando. I'll get a bit of a 10 here. I'll get a bit of a tier 7-pound bid. I'll get a bit of a 2,000, 3,000 bid. And 2, 3, 4. At 3, down 4, 5, 5, 5, 6 here, 6, 7, 7, 7 here, 6 a bid, 7 a bid. Hit 7 here. I'll get a bit of a 17 down, 8 down, 75, 8,000 out of 5, 85. I'll get a bit of a 5 down, 5, get a bit of a 9 down, 9, get a bit of a 9 here, 9 here. Zach, you want to get 9 and 9,005 and 95 bid down 10 here, 10. Hit 10. I'll get a bit of a 10 pound bid, 95, 10. I'll get a bit of a 95 to 10 and 95, 10. I'll get a bit of a 10.
95 reserves on. Thank you. 10 pound bid. In 10, I'll get a 95 down 10. I'll get a little bit 10. I'll get a little bit 95 10. And 95 bid. I'll get a little 10 down 95 down 10. I'll get a thank you. I'll get a little 10 down half. Sold 95. Sold $9,500. Nick. Now offering.
So here's an absolutely, well, I'm not going to say it. This is a very pretty bike, but it has some interesting flaws that I do want to talk about. This is a 1976 BMW R90S. Now, this is the last year of the R90S before it became the R100S. And this happens to be in a very famous livery called Daytona Orange. Most of the time you see an R90S, it is what they call black smoke, which is this silver color and then sort of a candy black over the top of it. This is a candy orange, and they call it Daytona Orange. The reason they call it Daytona Orange is Butler and Smith and Reg Pridmore won Superbike in '76 on bikes in this livery. I'm sorry, in '75. So it is just absolutely cool color. Very hard to find. This particular bike has a lot of flaws. Like here's a big softball-sized dent in the tank. Scratches. This thing's been down. You know, you can see scrapes all around it. But you know what's good about that is it tells you it's an original paint bike. These are very hard to replicate correctly because no two paint schemes are ever the same. And once you repaint this, it's never going to be the same as it was before. It's just so hard to capture. So if you value originality, this, you know, at least authenticates its originality. Unfortunately, it's damaged. Like that is a crack that is not going away. Otherwise, it's a fairly clean motorcycle. You know, dual disc, which was indicative of the R90S. Just really cool motorcycle. I dig it. I happen to love these. They were the first of the, you know, sporting superbike BMWs to try and compete with Honda and the Japanese for basically sporting motorcycles. And then next to it is this really cool custom that is a /6. So it'll be of the same generation as the R90S, but somebody has built this into a scrambler. This is a custom. This is not how they came from the factory. This particular one has the solo seat that they used on police bikes, but the subframe's been cut and modified. It's got a stainless steel fender off a British bike. It's got these weird cocktail shaker exhausts, a high pipe that somebody made. A lot of custom work into this. Clear-coated, epoxy clear-coated, bare natural metal tank. You can see it started to rust a little bit. Electronic gauge. Really neat custom. And this has been the trend with airhead BMWs lately is people don't like stock ones anymore. So they wanted to see something different, and this is certainly different. And then next to it is, I mean, this is really pretty. This is a /2. I believe it's a 60/2, R60/2, with a 8-gallon Hosp tank on it and a Cafe Racer seat. This one, and it's got a Grameca 4-leading shoe front drum on it. Just a really pretty sporting /2. There aren't that many sporting /2s. There was a performance model called the R69 that was a little bit more horsepower, better gear ratios, but it didn't look like a sporting motorcycle. This pays tribute to a lot of the earlier BMW race bikes pre-war, the 1938, 39 bikes, but just really well built.
BMW R96 Enduro with electric start.
Get $500 and so we get 5,000 on dividend 2, we get 3, on dividend 2, $100 dividend 3, we get 3, we get 4, $100 dividend 4, 5, get $500 dividend 4 dividend 5,000, $6,000 dividend 5,000, 55, $6,000 bid. I get 5,500. You want 6? And now here they want 6. Our dividend now 5. Here down 16, $500 bid 2 and a half 5. Our dividend 255. Our dividend 2 and a half 5. Our dividend 65, 7 and a half. Reserves off. Our dividend 65, 7 and a half. I get 6,500. Our dividend 7 and a half. Our dividend 6,500 is bid 67 and a half. Anybody else? Last call. And now 7. And now 7,000. Our dividend 7 bid 7 Internet Megan.
Lot T 103 from the Bruce D. Milner collection, a 68 BMW R62 tribute to the famous cafe racer Ren Sports.
Hit by Hunter David David appeared under David get 20, Hunter David get 20,000, hit 20 paid under David 20, Hunter David get 20, Hunter David so get $15,000, Hunter David get 15,000 under bid, under David 15, David get 10,000 under bid, Hunter David get 10,000 under bid, under David get 7,000 under 8, I get 7 heavy, Ryan get $8,000, I get 7,000 under 8,000, I'm here now 10, put up 10,000 under bid, 12, I now 12,000 under bid, Hunter David bid 10, 12, Hunter David get 12, 15, 15, 17 to bid, I now 17, 17, Hunter David get 20, Hunter David get 20, I now 20, David get 20, David get 20, David get 20,000, Hunter David get down 2, Hunter David get 20,000, Hunter David but I'll do it 1, 2, hit 1, 2, Hunter David get 21, 2, I get 21, 2, Hunter David get 22, 23, reserves off 2, 3, hook 3, Hunter David in the middle 2, 3, Hunter David get 22, 23, Bonner, hit 3, Hunter David get 3, yes or no sir to get 22, 23, bikes for sale, 22, David get 3, Hunter David get 23,000, Hunter David get 3, David get 3, David get 23,000, so $22,000 Megan
From the Arizona.
Well, some of you might be looking at this, oh God, he's going to showcase another Harley, in this case a flathead WLA, but that's not what this is at all, actually. I mean, it looks just like a WL or a W Series flathead Harley, but this is not. This is a Rikuo, R-I-K-U-O, or Rikuo, I don't even know how you say it. And these are Japanese Harley-Davidsons. So prior to World War II, in order to get their bikes into the Asian market, Harley-Davidson licensed their W Series bikes to be made in Japan by several companies. And Rikuo was one of them. And that's what this is. This is a licensed Harley-Davidson built to specs, but it doesn't say Harley-Davidson anywhere on it. Even if you look in the gauge, you know. Yeah, there is no Harley-Davidson logos anywhere on the bike. Functionally, though, it is a W Series Harley. They're very neat. You very rarely see them. I believe this tank here is aftermarket. I don't believe that's stock. But it's very hard to get parts for these kinds of bikes, right? It does have the cool kick-down center stand as well as a side stand. And this one happens to be very, you know, well preserved and I guess restored a little bit. Not a full restoration. Looks like a cleanup on it. Original parts where they could keep it. But yeah, there are some differences too, like these mirrors. These are not the Harley mirrors, nor would they ever have been. But you can't hide that nacelle. You can't hide these forks. You can't hide that engine. It is, you know, functionally a W Series Harley, just made in Japan by Japanese people.
Birthday boy, here's Jimmy. Here's Jimmy now offering T109 from the Kennedy Mats collection, a 1941 Rikuo. All right, now offering T109 from the Kennedy Mats collection, a 1941 Rikuo.
And how much is somebody get $15,000 here? You better get 15 bid. You better get $10,000 bid. You better get 10. You better get $5,000. At $5,000 here, you better get 3,000. Put it at 4,000. You better get $5,000. At 6,000, you better get 7,000. You better get 7. You better get 6,500. 7 at $7,000. Now $7,500 bid. You better get 7 bid. You better get 7,500. I have 7,000, 7,500, 8,000. You better get 8. Reserve is off 8,500 and 8,500 now. 9,000. You better get 9 bid. You better get 9 bid. You better get 5. 9,500 at $9,500 bid. You better get 5 bid. You better get 9,500. $10,000 now at 95 bid. You better get 10 bid. You better get 10. You better get 10. You better get $9,500. You get 10. So $9,500, Laura.
So here are two really interesting British sporting motorcycles. This is a Scott Flying Squirrel, and these were originally developed in the 1920s, and they are water-cooled two-stroke. In the 1960s, they actually started reproducing them. The Scott Club made enough parts that you could make one. There's a little flying squirrel on it. That's cute. So they're weirdly, you know, one of those bikes that keeps getting a life over and over again thanks to enthusiasts. But they were a 1920s motorcycle that kept being made through the 60s. And then behind it we have a 1957 Veloset Venom. Now, unlike a lot of the other British motorcycles of the time, their Veloset is not as well known for it, but they are known for sporting motorcycles, and the Venom was the top performance bike for that time period from Veloset. Some interesting features here, like an adjustable shock mount. So these are 500cc singles, you know, in the tradition of the British sporting single. They're like a BSA Gold Star, but not nearly as well known. But absolutely gorgeous bike nonetheless. So I'm sure you guys are tired of me waxing poetic about Ironhead Sportsters, but this is a particularly pretty one because of how much work and effort somebody put in making it really nice. Although I will say that this bike probably hasn't been used much because it's got some cracking on the tires. But what is it? It's a 58 XLH, which was the lower compression model. But 58 was also the first year of the XLCH, which was the higher compression model. And the XLCH was meant more for off-road, so it had a high pipe. And this particular one has the XLCH high pipe. Now this is probably a reproduction. I mean, it could be an original, but they do make these pipes and they're not that expensive. But it is nice to see it because normally you see these things, they only have, you know, 2 sets of drag pipes coming out the bottom. And this one also happens to have a working seat plunger. That's the factory seat plunger. Now the seat itself is of the original design, but that's actually a Corbin seat. It's not the original XL solo seat for 58. Just a really gorgeous bike though. Something else that it always kind of bothers me to see this because Ironhead Sportsters never came with 16-inch rear wheels. That was a dealer accessory. They would be 19 front, 18 rear. For XLHs, they'd be steel. For XLCHs, they'd be aluminum Barani alloy rims. In this particular one, it has a 16-inch drop center steel rim laced to the back, so that's not correct either. So it's otherwise just a very nice custom. Very pretty color too. I don't think it's hi-fi blue, which would have been the correct blue for this era. And a pretty decent paint job. I mean, it's got a few flaws, but you know, it's a little orange peel here and there. There's some trash in the paint right here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a good home restoration. Overall, a nice bike. I don't know what it is with Sportsters and these eyebrows. That's not the correct one for this year, and this one has a toggle switch in it that some years had that, but this should be a smooth top. It shouldn't have the recess for the lights, so this is a later eyebrow on it. But overall, drum brake, correct 33mm forks with the stock drum brake. Sportsters did not go to disc brake until 1973. It does also have the correct tank and petcock, though. Those early petcocks, they're kind of leaky and they're kind of hard to find. Also, this has the horseshoe oil tank. If it was an XLCH, it would have the lunchbox oil tank. But overall, very pretty bike. I love it. If I hadn't bought something else earlier in the week, maybe I'd be bidding on it. Who knows?
58 Harley-Davidson Sportster, no reserve.
No reserve, $115, $10, 3 pounds without a 4, 5 pounds without a bid. You're $5, $5, $6, $7 pounds without 8 pounds without a bid. $8 without a bid. You're 7 pounds without 8 pounds without a bid. You're 8 pounds without a bid. $8 You're going to 7 pounds without a bid. 7 pounds without 8 pounds without a 7, 8 pounds without That's 70. I got 7, 8, 9. Now going to be 9, Zach. Got 8 pounds and then that's it. 9 pounds without a bid. You get 8 pounds without a down. 9 to 8 pounds without a down. 9. You're 9. How about each bid? 9 pounds without a bid. Anyone else? 8 pounds without a 9 pounds without a bid. 8 pounds without 9 pounds. So $8,000.
Now, most of you know that my father and I own a 1972 Dunstall 810 Mark II, but here is a 1964 featherbed Atlas with Dunstall parts. I don't know if this was an actual built-in Paul's shop Dunstall Dominator or if this was a kit bike. My feeling is it's a kit bike, but it's a kit bike with a lot of the correct parts, such as the Manx style seat, the flip-up cap for the oil in between the seat, sometimes called a ball warmer, the oil tank for it, has the correct Lucas magneto for the Atlas, and it does have the correct Manx style tank. This tachometer is kind of a neat aftermarket piece that somebody made back in the day, and this is an original California black plate bike. Looks like the last tag on it was from '83, but I don't know when the last time this thing was on the road. Just overall a very pretty bike. Some really old tires. Those Goodyears are, you know, the racer rib tires are pretty ancient. Cool logo though. And look at this gorgeous vent for the for the drum brake up front. Overall a very nice bike. Let's see what they say here. Purchased from Bill Krause's Sports Cycles in Inglewood, California. Bronze valve guide, swept back exhaust, 4-speed box, chronometric speedometer, flanged alloy wheels. It's a nice bike. I'm sure it will make somebody real happy.
Out of bed, you pin, high body running, I'm going to do 2 pounds another, 3 pounds out of bed, you push, high negative 2, negative 3, high 3 pounds out of bed, you 3, high body running, negative 2, negative 3 pounds another, 2 pounds out of bed, 3 pounds another, you make it 2,500, 3,500, 3 pounds another, 3,500 out of bed, 3 pounds and 5, 4 pounds and out of bed, 3,500, 4 pounds and out of bed, down 35 bed, 4 pounds and out of 35 negative 4,000. Anybody else? 35, 4, 7.5 down 4 pounds and out of bed, 37.5, 4,000, 4,000 out of bed, 37.5, 4, good 4, higher negative 4,000 dollars. Anybody else? 4,000 dollars, 42.5, 42.5, 42.5. 4,500, 4,500, 4,500 on it, 42.5, 500 out of bed, good 5, 4,500, got 42.5, 4,500, 4,500, anybody else, last call, 4,500 out of bed, and out of that, 4,500, so 4,250, Nick, from the Arizona Motor.
This is a lot of fun here. This is, it looks to be a 1960s Honda race bike, but the reality is, it's a 1980s Honda CBX engine. I can't say what the frame is. It looks like a CBX frame, but this is some custom. Somebody put a lot of work into this. Has a 4 leading shoe front drum. You can see both vents. I don't know if how safe I'd feel riding a 4 leading shoe drum CBX. You know, even the discs for the time were inadequate for this bike. Even though it made only 100 horsepower, it was a lot of weight to be pushing at that speed. But overall, gorgeous bike. A lot of work went into this.
1980 Honda CBX 1000 with a 5.
Get 30, higher negative 10, 12. Good 10, 12, higher negative 10, 12, 15 pound out of 15 to bed down 12 pound out of 15 pound, 15, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15 to bed, higher negative 15 pound out of good 14, 15, higher negative 15 pounds and out of bed, 14 pound, 15 pound, 15 pounds and out of 14 pound, 15 pound, 15 pound out of bed, higher negative 14, 15, 15 pound out of 14 bed, 15 to bed, 15 bed down 14 pound, 15 pound, 15 pounds another, 14 to bed down negative 15 pound, 15 to bed, high negative 16, high 15 to bed, 16 pound, 15 pound out of bed, negative 16 pounds another bed, 15 pounds another, 16 pounds another, anybody else, 15 pounds, 16 pounds another bed, 15 pounds, 16 pound, high 15 to negative 16, 16 pounds another, high 15 to bed down negative 16 pounds, 15 pounds, 16 pounds, anybody else, last call, 15 to bed, high negative 16 pounds another, close bid at 15 pounds and the bed goes on.
These are always interesting bikes to see. This is the CX500 Turbo. They made these for 2 years, and then there was a 650 version as well. This happens to be in 1982. It is a 500cc water-cooled V-twin, like a Guzzi, a V-twin with the cylinders hanging out the side, but turbo with digital fuel injection. For 1982, this was Honda's a real tour de force of motorcycle. They wanted to put every bit of technology they had into making a sporting motorcycle that, you know, would compete with modern sport bikes and with less cost, with less size, less weight. But in the end, they came up with this. They're fairly reliable bikes, even for antiquated technology and parts you can't really get anymore. But absolutely gorgeous.
Now offering T171 82 Honda CX500 Turbo.
I'll get a bit of turbo time down 20, I'll get a bit of a 20 down, I'll get a bit of a 20 down 10, I'll get a bit of a 10 down 5,000, 6,000, and 5 bit 6, 7, and 7 tear down 8 down 8 down, I'll get a bit of a 7, 8 down, get a bit of a 9 down, 8 down, get a bit of a 9,000 under down, 8 bit, I'll get a bit of a 9,000, and 9, I'll get a bit of a 9, and I'll get a bit of 8, I'll get a bit of a 9 down, 8 down, I'll get a bit of a 9 down bit, and I'll get a bit of a 9 bit, I'll get a bit of a 9, and I'll get a bit of a 9,000 higher, and 9 bit, I'll get a bit of a 9, and I'll get a bit of a 9 down, 85 here, 8 down, 5 down, 9, 8 down, get a bit of a 5 down, 9, 85, 9,000 a bit 5, and 95, I'll get a bit of a 5 down, 9 down, 5, 5, 5, 95, I'll get a bit of a 5, 95 and a bit, and I'll get a bit of a 5, 95, I'll get a bit of a 5, and you've got to be at, I'll get a 9,000 under 5, and 95 bit, I'll get a bit of a 5, 95, I'll get a bit of a 5, 9,000, 5, and I'm 92, 50, 95, 92 to pair, 95, 95 bit, hit 5, I'll get a bit of 92 to pair, I'll get a bit of a 5, 95, 92, 55, and 95 bit, I'll get a bit, I'll get a hello, I'll get a bit of a 5, 95, I'll get a bit of a pigeon, I'll get a bit of 95 bit, and 95, 95, I'll get a bit of a 5, 95, 92, 50, get a bit of a 5, 95 bit, and I'll get a bit of a 5, I'll get reserve is on 92, 50, 95 bit, hit 5, I'll get a bit of a 5, 95, I'll get a bit of a 5, 95, 92, 55, and 95, Zach Yeldon, I'll get a bit of a thank you, sir, 95, I have sold 92, 50, and sold 92, 50, Paul's Way, the
So here's a real fun pair of bikes, competitors at one point too. Here we have a 1968 BMW R69S, which was the performance touring version of the /2 line of BMWs from 1956 to 1969. And then here is a Guzzi loop frame, and these went from 1967 to about 1973 or 4, I can't remember. So at one point, both these bikes would have been in the market, and they would have been direct competitors with each other. Both have the cylinders hanging out the side at different angles, the BMW being a boxer, the Guzzi being a V-twin. Both are excellent examples of these bikes too. This is just gorgeous. This particular Eldorado has the police solo saddle. A lot of the loop frame Eldorados and Ambassadors were used as police bikes, especially in California by the CHP. In fact, if you watch the very first Dirty Harry movie, the bad guys ride Moto Guzzi loop frame police bikes. And one of them goes in the ocean. It's, you know, kind of fun and kind of sad to watch at the same time. Both different approaches to kind of the same thing. Sport touring motorcycling before there was a sport touring category. Both are, you know, intricate jewelry in their own right. And both have very European sensibilities, especially when compared to what was around in the same time at the late 60s, early 70s from Harley-Davidson.
I'm going to Paul's Way now, 12,000. 11 here, 12. I'm going to bit of a 12 pound. That's fine. I'm going to bit of a 12 period. I'm going to bit of a 12. What do you got? 12 in a 12 period. I'm going to 11 pound bit 10. I'll take 11 though. 10, 11 bid. 11, thank you. 5 now. 12 here. 11, 5. 12 reserve is on. 11, 5. 12,000. 11, 5. I'm going to bit of a 12 down. 11, 5 here. 12 down. 11, 5. 12. And I'm going to bit of a 12 bid. I'm going to bit of a 12 down. 11, 5. I'm going to bit of a 12 last call. 11, 5 here. 12. And I'm going to bit of a 12 bid. I'm going to bit of a 12 down. 12. I'm going to bit of a 12 5 pounds. Sold 11, 5. It's sold 11,000. $500 Paul got.
Now offering T180 from the Arizona Motorcycle Collection, a 73 Moto Guzzi Eldorado 850.
It's right down the road down. I'll get a bit of a 12 period pan. I'll get a bit of a 10,000 under down. I'll get a bit of a 10. I'll get a bit of a 10. I'll get a bit of a 5,000. They just got it. And I'll get a bit of a 5. I'll get a bit of a 2 here. 3,000 down. And 2, 3. And I'll get a bit of a 3 down. 2 down. 3 down. 3 down. 4. I'll get a bit of a 4 down. 5. I'll get a bit of a 5. Rolling 5. Hit 5. I'll get a bit of a 4. Get a bit of a $5,000. Hit 5. I'll get a bit of a 4 pin. I'll get a bit of a 5 down. 4 down. 5. I'll get a bit of a 4 down. 5. And I'll get a bit of a 5 pin. I'll get a bit of a 5 down. 5. I'll get a bit of a 4 to 5,000 down. 4. Get a bit of a 5. Hit 5 pound pin. I'll get a bit of a 5 down. 4. I'll get a bit of a 5 down. 4.
$4,500 it is. Closing at $4,000, closing at $4,000.
Now offering T181.
Got him right away.
Look at this relic of the 70s, complete with Viking mural.
Oh, that is Viking?
That's what it is. How awesome is this? This actually is 70 K0 750. Also, fake dual disc, no caliper on the front. But it is just, 1970s chopper awesome. These things, it's always hard to tell what they'll do at Mecum. Sometimes they do no money whatsoever, and sometimes they go crazy.
T303, a 70 Honda CB750 custom.
Yeah, $500, yeah, $500, they get $5, they get $5, they get $5, they get $3, they get $3, they get $3, so we get $2,000. $2,000 bid. Alright, David, get $2. Alright, David, get $2,000, David, get $1,000, David, with $1. $1,000, David, get $1, get $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, David, get $2. $1,500, $2,500, David, get $2's bid. 25 Shay's way. 2 bid 5. Did you get 25 under there? 25. $2,000, 2,500. Reserve is off at $2,000, 25. I get 2,000. Anybody get 2,250 on this Honda? 22.5. $2,000, 2,250. Sells highest bidder. I get $2,000. David get 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. All later down tonight. So $2,000 shake.
From the Western Racer collection is T3.
The brass fitting, but he didn't put the gauge on it.
This is no problem. Of course not.
And all this stuff is 10 times even easier than your Guzzi probably. Where it's like, you just get a cable. Those cables are $10. I don't think you want turn signals.
I have them.
It's for sissies.
We have them, then we'll put them on. Let's
Just use your arm for the turn signals.
Oh, I'm looking to get the thing down. I can't get the rubber, what do you call it?
Oh, the actual basket or the metal piece that I call the bail. I was gonna try to get the tank. I can't really. This is like falling too far. What did you see? I can't really let the seat go. When he's on that side channel too much. What are you gonna repaint this tank?
No. This is the stuff I don't like.
European people.
Right? No, you know who else loves this? Aircraft components. One fleet.
Yeah, well that's 70.
Yeah. Look, they're all numbered too. They all do. This is good shape. I mean, except for these
Well, I don't love that every wire's blue or yellow.
that's a good one.
Did you get it back on, Carrie?
Yeah, hang on. It's 2,000.
When you came over like that, I was like, oh, that must have happened. Either you got it or it went for like 10. Strawberry, baby.
You made this. That's not stock. You made this. No.
No, I mean, no.
Yeah, normally it's not stock. This one's not.
Did you want to get that?
No, I was using a screwdriver. I wasn't thinking about it.
You sure it's flat?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's just right on the edge. Oh, yeah.
You got it on?
Worst case, you could pop it off and stick it in here. This little tray.
No, I don't want to damage the
I don't want to lose anything either.
Floats or whatever.
because they're the original brass floats.
Oh, really?
I don't have a key on me. You have a key on you?
No.
Dad, do you have a key on you?
No, I don't.
Oh, you want to put that back on? Oh, these are. Yeah, they went around the cup.
So that's probably why, because these are probably not longer cables.
Yeah, no, he had
Yeah.
to extend.
So he just went straighter in instead of under there.
Perry,
Yeah.
if you can't get it on, put it under the seat. Or put it inside the side
No, because
cover.
I can't get it on. I'll run over to the Guzzi.
What?
If I
Yeah,
can't
get
get
the
it on,
tools.
I'll get the toolkit out of the Guzzi and put it on that way.
You want me to give it a shot?
Yeah. Yeah, you're a fucking miracle worker.
You got it on?
He got it on.
Thank goodness.
I love it.
Me too. I have new cables too.
Yeah, and like I said, you can actually buy like 4-inch longer ones.
I don't need it. I have everything.
Yeah.
I'd rather have shorter bars too.
I have.
You need something
so-
because they're a little awkward. They're kind of like when your wrist comes in like
You know
this.
what I have? The Tracy bodied 71 that I have has the big chomper bones that come forward. I think those the mini apes that like go sideways.
Well, now that means you're not going to bid against me on the Tracy body one.
No, I wasn't gonna bid on that.
Here you go.
I was
You want
gonna go stupid
shut it
money.
off?
Yeah, shut it off.
I agree.
So, to quote the great poet Britney Spears, oops, I did it again. We bought another bike, actually, something that was kind of a deal for us. A 1970 Honda K0 for $2,000 at Hammer Price. And it is kind of chopperish, but it's also kind of fun, and I think that that's going to be an interesting bike for the channel and be something that we can pass on to somebody else in its awesome state. So yeah, it's fun. Be careful at Mecum. Buying bikes is addicting. So yeah, as you can hear, the auction is still going on, but we have to settle up with the paperwork because we purchased something. But this is fun because we get to actually take you behind the scenes and what happens once you buy a bike. That was something I wasn't able to do last year because I didn't know how it worked. But it turns out once you buy the bike, you can go inspect it, play with it, do whatever you want. You know, because it's your bike. You're in the contract to purchase it, and as long as it checks out and meets, you know, everything, you're good. So, should be a fun time. We're just waiting now. So, tomorrow is going to be one of the big spendy days. So it'll be more about watching bikes go for big numbers and watching cool, rare stuff. There's some amazing bikes here. There's a Harley here that has it's a panhead that has 2 left side linker carburetors. It's just insane. It's unbelievable. I want to show that to you tomorrow. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
T136, a 72 Kawasaki H1B 500 Mach 3, no reserve.
Somebody get $30,000 here. You better get 30, bid. You better get 30. You better get $10,000. Somebody get 10,000. I've got 5,000. You better get 7,000. You better get 7. You better get paid. $8,000 for it. 8,000. You better get paid. You better get paid. You better get paid. You better get $8,000. You get $8,000. $9,000. $10,000. At 10,000, you better get 10, bid. You better get 9, bid. You better get 10. You better get 10, 11. 11,000. 11 bid. You better get 10, 11,000. 11 bid. 10, 11. 12. 12,000. 11 bid. You better get 12 here. You better get 13,000. You better get 13. I had 12,000. You better get 13,000. You better get 13. You better get 13. You better get 12 bid. You better get 13. I have $12,000 bid. $13,000. $14,000. 13 bid, you're gonna get $14,000, $15,000 now. At $15,000 bid, you're gonna get 15, 16. 16,000, you're gonna get 16, you're gonna get 15, you're gonna get 16, you're gonna get 16,000, 17. At 17,000, you're gonna get 17, you're gonna get 17, you're gonna get 17. At 16, it's your turn, you're gonna get 17, 17, 16, 5, 17,000. At 17,000, put it 17 bid, you're gonna get 17, 5. 17, 5 bid, you're gonna get 5 bid, you're gonna get 5 bid, you're gonna get 17, 5. 17 bid, you're gonna get 5 bid, 18,000, now you're gonna give 18, you're gonna give 18, you're gonna give 18, now 19, 19 or 20, give 20, give 20 or 18.5, which is where you like to be, 18.5, 18.5, 20. There you go, 20's bid, 21. At 20 bid, you're gonna get 1 bid, you're gonna get 2. At 22,000, you're gonna get 2 bid. Now get mad, buy it. 22. 22,000, you're gonna get 2 bid, you're gonna get 2, you're gonna get 2, you're gonna get 1, you're gonna get 2, you're gonna get 22. 23. At 22 bid, you're gonna get 3 bid, you're gonna get 3, you're gonna get 3, you're gonna get 2, you're gonna get 3. Now 24. Now 24. Or 30. 24. $25,000. $25,000 here. You're going to get 5 bid. You're going to get 5 here. You're going to get 25. Asking $25,000. At 25,000, you're going to get 5 bid. You're going to get 5 here. You're going to get 25. The bid is $24,500. Asking $25,000. 24 5 bid. You're going to get 25,500. At 25.5. At $25,500 bid. You're going to get 25.5. 25.5. 25.5. 26,000. 27,000. Internet at 26 bid, you're gonna get 7 bid, you're gonna get 7, you're gonna get 7, you're gonna get 7 once, 26, 27 twice, last call, 27,000. So $26,000, Laura. Here's Russ Conklin.
On the block now, showing you flat T with 37 to 72 Kawasaki H2 with a kickstart and a 5-speed. No reserve.
So no reserve. How negative, how much here? How negative, 40,000 out of 30,000 out of bid. Good 30, so we get 20,000 out of 90. 20,000 out of bid. Good 10. 10,000 out of bid. Good 10, 12. 12,000 out of you 15,000 out of 17,000, 20, you 20,000 out of bid, out of 22, 25,000 out of 7, you 7, 27 to bid, you 25, 27,000 out of you 7, 25 to bid, 27,000 out of 45 to bid, 26, 45,000, 6, 7, 7, 8, 27, 28, 29, 49,000 out of bid. 9, hard negative, going to be 9. You're 9, hard 49,000 out of bid, hard out 9, 30, 29 to bid, 30, 30,000 out of bid, 29 to bid, 30, 30,000 out of there, 29 going to be 30. Anyone else? 29, 30, 30,000 out of bid. Last call. So $29,000 internet.
Lot T 138, 1973 Kawasaki Z1 with a 5-speed and running
Last year, there was
Good,
one
how much
that
here?
went
High $8,000 starting, 9,000 out of bid, 8, 9, 10, put it 10, 10,000 out of 11, 12,000 out of bid, 13,000, 14,000, 15,000, 16,000, 16, 17 to bid, 16 to bid, down 17,000 out of 17,000 out of down 16, 17, and now 18,000 out of bid, 17, 18, good 18,000 out of bid, 18, 19, 20,000 out of bid, 20, high 19 to bag it in 20, good 20, high 19 to bag it in 20, gonna be 20, gonna be 20 bid, good 19,000 out of 20,000 out of now 20, now 1, we're now 1, reserve is off, 20,000 out of now 1, 20,000 out of now 21,000 out of 100, 20 grand, 21, 20,000 out of now 21, 2, we're now 22,000 out of now 20 bid, 22,000 out of there, 21, 22, 22,000 out of bid, now 2, high 21 to bag it in 22, good 2, last call, high 21 to bid, we're now 22, 23, 23,000 out of net, 22 to bid 3, 24, 24,000 out of bid 4, we're now 40 bid down negative, we got 24, 5, 25,000 out of bid, 25,000 out of 90, 26,000 out of shirt, 27,000 out of bid, 7, 47, higher there now 7, higher negative 27 to bid, good 7, higher there down at 27,000, 26, 5, 27, 27,000 out of shirt, 26, 5, 27, gonna get 27, last call, anybody else? So $26,500 for us.